Hi, I'm Jalen Rose, and welcome to the Renaissance Man podcast, proudly presented by the New York Post, a show where we cover trends in fashion, entertainment, current events, and everything in between. My next guest is a two-time Emmy-nominated actress, a vegan chef, best-selling author, and social media personality. She has transformed her 5 million TikTok followers, big time social media following, and successful YouTube channel into a Food Network hit television show, a line of spices, and so many partnerships, including one with Target, and so much more. It is my honor to welcome the multi hyphenate Tabitha Brown to the Renaissance Man podcast. Welcome.
Thank you. Look, hello there.
I appreciate you taking the time. You're such an inspiration by your journey. So I have to ask, how did your upbringing in North Carolina shape you?
My upbringing, I'm from the country. Some people would call the sticks. Eden, North Carolina would be the city everybody knows, but I grew up in a town called Stoneville. That's where my home is. And I think everything about me is Eden, North Carolina. Like the way people know me now is home. It shaped me when it comes to being authentic, being loving, being country and being all right with it, right? But it took me a long time to get back to her, because for a very long time, when you grew up in the South and then you kind of move around, I was kind of told many times that, I sounded ignorant or, they'd be like, oh, you a country Bama or, there's all kind of names for it. And I kind of tried to cover that and mask that. But then in the last 5 years being on my freedom walk, I realized that, oh, wait a minute, who I was, being from Eden, North Carolina, it was always enough. And I don't have to hide that. I can be exactly who I am. And so, listen, when you go to the Carolinas, honey, people be like, them the nicest people in the Carolinas. And I believe that, not because I'm from there, but just because it's true. So we love people hard in the Carolinas. And I try to do that every day.
As I mentioned, you're such an inspiration. And I have to allow you to elaborate for those that don't know exactly what your freedom walk entails.
Well, for me, my freedom walk, I got sick back in 2016. And the doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. So I had something was happening within my body where it was starting to attack itself. And so they were saying, there's something autoimmune happening. We just can't figure it out. And so I was sick for about a year and a half. And during that time, it's kind of like I lost my faith a little bit. I thought God had forgotten about me, right? And I got to a really dark place because when you're sick for a while and you don't know what's wrong with you, you really get depressed because you know your body. And I was like, I know something ain't right. But in that dark time, I was like, you know what, Lord, I'm going to try one more time. I'm going to try one more time, God, to really pray and really mean it. Because I grew up in the church, I'm from the South. I grew up in the church. I always prided myself on being like this woman of faith. But I really had lost it a little bit. And so I went in the bathroom, what I call my coming to Jesus meeting in my bathroom. So I got in the mirror and I was really in search of trying to see my soul. And so I prayed and I was like, God, if you heal me, you can have me. And I'm not going to try to live my life my way anymore. I'm simply going to live it the way you created me to live it. Right. And something changed that day. When I walked out, I just felt different. I was not well still, but I just still felt different. And after that, a couple of weeks later, I had a dream. And what a lot of people should know about me is that I'm gifted in dreaming. That has been my whole life since I was a little girl. I would dream things and they come to pass or they send me messages. And so I had this dream and I had saw myself on a show. And I was, had like a little short, afro and, very short hair. Because at this time, I used to always wear my hair very long and straight because I'm a trained actress. And I always had covered my accent. But in this dream, I was completely me. Me that my daddy know, the me that my husband know, completely free. And when I woke up, I was like, now, what kind of show was I on, Lord? Because while I was sick, I wasn't really able to pursue my acting career. And I was like, reveal that to me. What was that? And I had heard a voice that said, start doing videos. And I was like, nah, Lord, I can't do that. I don't want to do no videos, because as an actress, I was always told if you do videos and social media, they ain't gonna take you serious. But he reminded me of the bathroom conversation a couple of weeks prior. He said, you said, if I heal you, I can have you. Which meant I had to be obedient, right? And so I said, okay. And so in that obedience of starting to do videos, I also realized that I can't show up as this other person that I had created. Because for almost 20 years, I had created this Tabitha I wanted the world to believe I was. I always covered my accent. I always wore my hair straight. I always tried to be a certain size. I tried to do everything to fit in, but that wasn't freedom. And so I had to start taking off layers. I'm still taking off layers.
Yes.
But that meant I had to go on a freedom walk. And I've been doing it ever since. It's been, over 5 years now. And I still take off layers because healing isn't permanent. Healing is a journey, and we always can be triggered by things, right?
Yes.
And so because of that, it's an everyday journey for me.
Very refreshing. And as MLK holiday approaches, and to hear you speak, it reminds me of one of his quotes that's my favorite, when he says, faith is taking the first step without seeing the entire staircase.
Yes.
And not only being in entertainment, but also being Black and being a woman, you have to find ways to, quote unquote, to fit in order to be accepted for the opportunity that we're pursuing. And then it becomes so very refreshing that I could just be the best version of myself, and great things can actually happen through faith. So this journey is so remarkable that you stayed in your faith and continue to reinvent yourself and continue to grow daily. I follow you on social media, and I'm inspired by the things that you post. So I have to ask, who are the people in your life that influenced you, in particular when it came to food or the arts?
Well, when it comes to food, right? My granny was our town baker, and she cooked. My mama was an amazing cook. My aunts, it's family, right? I was a tomboy growing up. I ain't want to be in nobody's kitchen, right? I used to be like, I don't need to be in there. When I grow up, I'm gonna be rich and famous, and I'm gonna have a chef. I didn't know I was gonna turn out to be the person cooking. Okay, so it's always family for me. When it comes to entertainment, believe it or not, of course, like many of us, I grew up on the Cosby Show, right? And I used to always just love watching Felicia Rashad. I just would admire her grace. Yes. And I used to tell myself, I want to be that when I grow up. I want a TV show, and I want to be known as America's Mom and have this amazing sitcom, right? Before Roseanne caught all that heat, I used to be like, my perfect show would be, I'm a Claire Huxtable meets Roseanne, put me right in the middle, that's me, right?
Right.
But that's the type of feeling I wanted to give the world. That's the type of art I wanted to create. I'm also a really big Whoopi Goldberg fan. And just those type of women, being able to see them that look like me growing up, I was always inspired by them.
And you did it. Tab time. 2-time Emmy nominated. Incredible. So talk about the process of making that show and how fulfilling it was to receive your Emmy nominations.
Well, first of all, I'm still blown away that I even received the Emmy nominations, right? Because I was like, I dreamt that, we won an Emmy for Tab Time last summer. And I text my whole team back in June. And I was like, in my mind, I kept thinking, but my show is on YouTube. We can't even be nominated for an Emmy. Like, that's what I thought. But, that's how God worked. He was like, I want you to doubt me. I want you to keep doubting me. I can do all things. So I was just amazed, grateful. To be nominated to me is the win. To be nominated personally as the host, as myself, and for the show. I wanted to create a show that gave us the old school feeling. I grew up on Mr. Rogers. I loved watching him. I think that kids now, we are in such a rush for so many children to grow up so quickly. And so I wanted to do something to slow it down a little bit. because we only get a small amount of time for children to be children. We
Mm-hmm.
really get a good 10 years, and that's it. We
Mm-hmm.
adult for the rest of our life. And so I thought if we could have a children's show that taught children how to love themselves and see themselves, no matter how different they feel or they are, and learn together, right? Have fun together. Then those same children will grow up one day and love themselves as an adult, see themselves as an adult, despite their differences, and also love and have compassion for each other. And my hope is that, that helps heal the world one day. But I absolutely love it, honey. The kids love it. Honey, I'll be in the stores and they be like, Miss Tab. But I love it. I love children. The old saying is the children are our future, but it's a true fact, right? We were once children and here we are. So it's definitely a passion project.
And also, I'm glad you acknowledged about the short period of time that we get to be quote unquote children. And that's why it's important for me to try to allow them to keep their innocence as long as possible, because the internet, social media, and these cell phones, once you press www, have a young mind digesting adult things very young. And it can be overwhelming to their decision making and their approach to life. And then sometimes those things that you see online, as you know, are fictional in a lot of ways. People are giving you a snapshot of their lives, the best version of their day. They're editing those pictures. And so a lot of times you thrive to want to be like something that truly doesn't exist. And for you in 2007, something happened that was a game changer. You was reviewing a Whole Foods sandwich during your shift as an Uber driver. Talk to me about that process. So you wanted to be in entertainment, but you had the humility and the work ethic that I'm still going to be an Uber driver. But then you took social media reviewing that sandwich, and all of a sudden it went viral.
Absolutely. So in 2017, that was December 30th of 2017. I was driving Uber, dropped somebody off by Whole Foods. I was still in my new vegan journey. It had just been a couple of months. I had just started doing videos, being obedient to do these videos. And I stopped in Whole Foods to get me some breakfast because, I was new as vegan, and Whole Foods always got a vegan option. So I was like, let me go in here and get me a little breakfast, And so I went in, and I had never heard of vegan bacon at that time. I was like, tempeh bacon. I don't know what that is, but honey, let me get this sandwich and throw me a little pickle on there, honey. And I ate the first half so fast. I was like, oh Lord, I forgot I got to do a video to tell people that I found us a new vegan option, right? And so did the video. I posted it. I didn't think nothing of it because nobody was really watching my videos. I would get like maybe a couple hundred views a week, but nothing like major. And so I went back to driving Uber and got home that evening and turned my notifications on, and my phone it looked like it was like an Amber Alert. It was just buzzing and going crazy. And I was like, what is happening? Who is watching this video? And the video had, I think, like maybe 50,000 views or something. And the next morning it had over 100,000+. And I told my husband, I was like, I think I'm going viral. And he was like, well, what that mean? I said, I don't know. He about that money. He was like, you gonna make some money? I was like, I don't know. And so within 4 days, Whole Foods reached out and they were like, we saw your video. And the sandwich was called, originally the sandwich was called TLTA. But in my excitement of doing the video, because the sandwich was so good, I called it a TTLA. So Whole Foods, and it was only available here in like the southern region, California. And so they changed the name of the sandwich to what I called it. And never in history had this ever happened. They rolled it out nationwide within 30 days because everyone was requesting it at their Whole Foods. And I became their brand ambassador for the sandwich and for plant-based living. And I went on to do more campaigns than I can count with them over the years. And I ain't drove Uber since then. About 4 days after that, I haven't drove Uber since then. And it has literally changed my entire life just from that video.
Wow. I have to ask, what was your driver rating as an Uber driver? And what are some of the do's and don'ts for people who get inside of Uber rides as it relates to dealing with their driver and having a safe trip?
Well, I was 5-star, honey. Everybody loved Tay. Okay. What's so funny? Every blue moon, early on, not as much so now, but every blue moon, people would message me and be like, "Oh my God, you were my Uber driver. I remember you." Because I would talk to everybody. I think the do is make people feel comfortable, right? And read the room. The room is small. It's a call. If somebody feel like talking, and if somebody don't, okay. Right. But for me, I always was like, "Hey, how y'all doing? Y'all all right?" Because in my mind, I was focused on getting discovered in my car. I was trying to pick up a director, a casting director, a producer. I'm in LA. No I thought I'm gonna get discovered in my car. That's why I told my husband. I said, I'm about to go drive Uber and I'm gonna get discovered in my car, because I really thought I was gonna pick up somebody I could network with. I didn't know I was gonna get discovered in my car from eating a sandwich, but my words were still true, right? So that's the do's and the don'ts, I think. Read the room, but also be approachable, be kind. I had many people cry in my car. I know I have a gift of being able to make people feel comfortable. And sometimes people would just start talking, and they'll be like, I don't know why I'm telling you all this. But sometimes, we got to allow God to use us. And sometimes we may be the only God that somebody witnesses in a day. And so I like to be that for people, that joy, that love that they may need. I've even had, when I drove, someone said, can I give you a hug? When it was time for them to get out, because people need each other, right? And people really need to be seen. And sometimes in an Uber.
Wow. Yeah. And that journey led to something that I'm inspired by, your vegan journey. And as I've gotten older, I tried to be more conscious of the things that I put in my body. Or even like for New Year's resolution, I said, eat less fried food, eat less bread, eat less pasta. So talk to us about why it's so very important to pay attention to the things that we're putting in our body, and how the vegan lifestyle and journey has been a game changer for you.
Well, it's important what we put in our body, right? We have to listen to our body. Our body tells us what it likes, what it loves, and what it does not like, need, or hate. Okay. When I was sick, I wasn't a terrible eater, right? But the difference was I used to eat to look a certain way. I didn't used to eat to feel a certain way, right? I was so focused on maintaining a size. So I would damage my body a lot by depriving myself of certain things, right? Starving myself sometimes, eating very little. And I was afraid of anybody carb, okay? But we know that we do need carbs. We need healthy carbs, right?
Correct.
And so while being sick, I only used to eat fish and chicken and turkey. I haven't had red meat or pork since I was 15, right? So for a very long time, almost 30 years. So I didn't think that I was a terrible eater, but I'm also allergic to milk, to dairy. So I was already not doing dairy before I even went vegan, but I still was not well. So when I watched a documentary called What the Health, and my daughter came home from school and told me about it. And so I was like, oh, well, let me watch it. And so watching it, within those first few minutes, when they started talking about not all diseases in our family are hereditary. Sometimes we eat the same thing that will cause the same disease, right? Because we got the same bloodline. And so for me, that was like a light bulb moment, because at that time, my dad hadn't even turned 70 yet. Thank God he has turned 71 now. He's the oldest man to ever live in our family. 71.
Wow.
He was the first to hit 70.
Wow.
My mama died at 51 of a rare disease, ALS. There's no cause or cure. People in my family have high blood pressure, diabetes, all in their 30s, right? So many different issues that happen. And the only common denominator that I could think of was how we ate. Correct. It was also the only thing I had not tried to try to heal myself. And so I decided to do a 30-day vegan challenge. And in the first 10 days, now mind you, when I was sick, I had a headache in the back of my head every day for a year and 7 months. Every day, no days off. This headache was present every day for 1 year and 7 months. Some days I would have blurred vision. Some days I would fall when I would walk. I had chronic pain throughout my body. Some days were better than others, and I knew how to fake it to look normal. But some days I wanted to sleep all day because I had chronic fatigue. I just couldn't get well. I did a 30-day vegan challenge. In the first 10 days, my headache disappeared. Now, I had tried every drug the doctor offered me. I was on steroids. I was on all kind of medication. I would get shots in my head, shots in my spine. I would try anything and nothing helped. If anything, it probably made me worse. But I changed how I ate. And in 10 days, the headache disappeared. I started getting energy again day after day. After 30 days, I told my husband, I was like, I'm starting to feel like my old self again, where I had almost lost hope before. And now I'm feeling restored. And I told him, I was like, I know I was going to do a 30-day challenge, but I think this is going to be my life. I'm going to go vegan. And I ain't looked back since. And here we are going on almost 6 years. And it has truly changed my life and saved my life.
Health and wellness and diet are so many things that people don't realize go hand in hand. So I have to ask you, give me your favorite 5 vegan things to eat.
Favorite 5.
Yes.
Oh, well, listen, everybody know Tab love avocado. Honey, I put it on everything. But jackfruit is my go-to. I love a jackfruit taco. I do like a mango style taco with jackfruit. I also love jackfruit to make it barbecue, like barbecue sliders. My family favorite is my vegan lasagna, right? I'm a Southern girl, so I love vegan mac and cheese. I can pretty much veganize anything, right? I love mushrooms. Honey, listen, give me some oyster mushrooms. I'm going to batter them and I'll fry them up. I can even make them alkaline. But pretty much all of the things. I love kale. Kale is a superfood. I saute it with garlic and onion, or sometimes I'll eat it raw in salads. I had one last night. I posted a video, right? I have my burgers, from Target. I have barbecue burgers, and I grilled them on my grilling pan, chopped them up, put them on top of my salad with chopped okra, avocado, and grilled onions and grilled peppers. Honey, listen, I have a little garden. I'll go out in the garden and get a fresh tomato and make a tomato sandwich, honey, because I'm country. But I love food. It's hard for me to narrow down 5, and I probably gave you about 8, but
those are incredible. But also too, you also named a couple that break a few misconceptions about what people consider quote unquote eating vegan is. Because sometimes think I can't have bacon or mac and cheese and be vegan. Can you speak to that for people who don't necessarily understand?
Listen, there's always an alternative, right? And there's 2 ways. So sometimes people think, oh, that's just a bunch of processed food. But no, listen, I made bacon out of carrots. I make bacon out of mushrooms. You can make bacon out of zucchini, right? There's so many different options, but you also can buy it from the store where it's a processed meat substitute. And I always tell people that's great, but eat it in moderation, right? Everything should be eaten in moderation. Of course. I have my own brand of burgers and sausage, but I also tell people you still don't eat it every day. It's a treat. It's just like if you ain't a vegan, you can't eat burgers every day. Right. You eat it in moderation. So you absolutely can have anything. Because when I went vegan, I ain't go vegan because I ain't like how non-vegan food tasted. I went vegan to save my life, right? So you can still have all your favorite things. Don't think of it as you're taking something away from yourself. Think of it as you're giving yourself something new to try.
Incredible. But before I let you get out of here, Tabitha Brown, and I appreciate you taking the time joining me on the Renaissance Man, I have a rapid fire segment called Gone in 60 Seconds, the foodie edition. You ready to do this?
Let's do it.
Okay. What is your favorite comfort dish?
Mac and cheese.
Name a TikTok food trend that actually works.
My carrot bacon in the air fryer.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Best city in the world to get vegan food.
Oh man. Oh. It's a toss up for me between Chicago and New York.
You're going to love this one. You ain't a real chef unless you have this.
Oh, what can a good knife. You got to be able to chop.
Chopped and screwed.
I call my knife Big Free.
Absolutely. And lastly, but certainly not least, what is cooking next in the world for Tabitha Brown look like?
Oh, honey, what's cooking next? Like in literally or just in what's happening in our world?
Literally, because I saw that you have your food truck that you were debuting in January. You got so many entrepreneurial pursuits. So what's next?
So
what's now and next?
Right. Well, you know, I do have my collection that just dropped in Target, which is food and kitchen. I'm starting season 3 of Tab Time, my children's show. I am working on my 4th book. I'm working on another book. I have another book coming out in the spring. It's a journal, Seen, Loved, and Heard, which goes with my first book, Feeding the Soul. I am super excited to like start touring again and speaking all over the country and hopefully going overseas this year. What else am I doing? So many things, right? I'm hoping to develop more things for children. And, you know, the thing that I'm, you know, praying about and really working on is my own talk show.
Incredible. And the one thing I learned from spending time with you, it's going to happen.
Yes, it will.
It's going to happen. Failure is not an option. And your faith is so strong. It not only shines on you, but it shines on those who follow you. So I'm very gracious to meet you. And I can't wait to stalk you and eat some food from your truck.
Yes. Well, listen, the food truck is just for this 1 week for Target to promote the new items. So people can get the snacks. If they see the truck here in LA, run up to it, get all the things. But listen, you just have to come to the house and let me cook dinner for over with the family.
Done. I appreciate the love. Thank you for taking the time.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, hon.